Under hypnotherapy, would someone like a Clifford Stone even reveal more things?
They do, especially if they had a singular experience where there was maybe a piece of missing time, or they disappeared in front of their friends and then were brought back later without memory. We do then regress them and open up that memory, retrieve the memory, and examine it.
Is it dangerous to regress people sometimes?
I've never seen it be dangerous ever.
Is it healthy?
It's extremely healthy.
For the individual?
It's extremely healthy because for decades, some people have the same thought going around in their head. What was that? What happened? Was that real? And that's an indicator to the conscious mind that there is some unsettled business in the unconscious that needs to be reviewed and settled.
If you had to categorize your career today, subject matter, what would you say? You're a paranormal expert?
I have some expertise in the paranormal world because there's a bleed through between that ufology and the abduction phenomena. But my expertise is in the experiencer, regressing them, and compiling information, creating commonalities,
right,
so that we can see where the similarities are, so we can begin to see what their agenda is, why they're here, what do they want, why are they taking people, and really, who are they? And there are so many different extraterrestrial experiences, not only the smaller grays, but the zetas who look very similar to the grays. And I couldn't tell by the picture there with Clifford. I would say that those weren't grays. I would say that what he described sounded more like zeta, primarily because of their communication and the way that they think. The smaller grays are primarily artificial intelligence. They have the ability to think, but they're limited in that. So tall gray is the more sentient being who is, like us, fully aware of themselves and not AI.
Are the smaller grays more robotic?
Yeah, absolutely. Very limited in what they can do. They're the gophers, go bring me this person.
The androids they created, the R2-D2s.
Yes, yeah, and they can communicate, and they can think,
function,
but they're limited.
They function quite a bit. Is the field of ufology and the field of paranormal investigating, are they related?
So what I've seen happen over the years are people who have had extraterrestrial experiences are now open to paranormal experiences. And I don't know if their particular frequency or energy has changed in them, that they're more able to perceive this, or if their mind is opened in a way that it's just allowed. But people who have had both paranormal and extraterrestrial experiences do come back with a higher sense of psychism, especially within the UFO phenomena. There's a halo effect for 2 or 3 weeks after an abduction where people are highly intuitive, slightly telepathic. It's quite interesting. And I don't know if that's because they're in the presence of that or during the abduction, that's how they communicate.
Do they become more spiritual, Laurie?
It is my opinion that an empowered, recovered abductee does ask the larger questions about reality. The reality that we live in today doesn't encompass the existence of non-human beings. But when you do have an experience like that and you're pushed into that reality and you have no choice but to understand that you have seen something or experienced something, you have to ask, what does this mean to the consciousness of the human? And I see that they become more aware of the multidimensional aspect of the human soul. And so within the abduction phenomena, I do think that some of the hybridization program with the grays and the humans isn't so much to make a hybrid. I think it's to hijack the ascension process of the human, as I do not believe that the grays have a soul. And as you know, human, the word hue, is the word we use to measure the depth or saturation of light. Man comes from the word manifestation, to come into the physical or to be embodied. A human is a light embodied being. this knocks on the door of the multidimensional aspect. We have to consider this. Other entities know that the human continues after the body falls. And I think that the Greys, who lived between 900 and 1100 years, would very much like to have a soul and see what that eternal process looks like for them.
How do we know that not every living being does not have a soul?
Well, we understand that the lower frequency beings, such as the Greys, don't have a soul. They have programmed it out of themselves, perhaps, or maybe they never had one. But they have moved in the area of technology as their God.
And they can function without a soul?
You can function without a soul. The body can, yeah. The soul moves in and out of the body all the time. The soul moves out of the body sometimes during dreaming, lucid dreaming, astral trips, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences. All of these indicate the soul leaving the body, coming back with additional information.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in a high intellectual, loving entity.
A creator?
Form of creator. Not God in the biblical form, certainly not in that way at all, but something that is much higher than that, because our understanding, there's a good and a bad. It's evil or it's good. But what I'd like to have people understand is that the highest, good and bad don't exist. There is no such thing. It just simply doesn't exist. Good and bad are conceptualized ideas that are created by humans. But above all that is a blissfulness, an incredible fluid understanding of expanded consciousness, where you move with the mind and you don't require a body.